everyone, welcome back to another video about creating wearables for Decentraland. I'm KJ from LowPolyModels, and today we're going to make a bomber jacket in Decentraland and then go through the process of submitting it as a DCL wearable. I'm super excited to show you the jacket we're making today because we've been collaborating with the streetwear brand Son of Adam to create a collection of wearables for Decentraland. So let's dive straight into the process. I'm going to open up Blender and import the Decentraland base avatar models linked below. If it's your first time making a wearable, you can find these assets in a Google Drive folder hosted by the Decentraland Foundation. Make sure to grab the armature from the armature folder too. Some of you have reported issues with the armatures in the male and female folders, so yeah, make sure to go to that specific folder, the armature folder. Once you have the male and female base avatars imported to Blender, it can be useful to put them in separate collections. You can create a new collection by clicking on the New Collection button in the top right corner of the screen in Blender. Meshes can be dragged and dropped into different collections in the outliner, or you can press the short key M with your mouse in the 3D editor to move the selected model to a collection. Now the avatars are in separate collections, it's easier to make them visible or invisible because we can press the eye icon next to the collection to hide or show all the items inside it. Avatars are made up of different meshes, one for the torso, one for the legs, one for the head, and so keeping them in different collections will help us stay organized. When making wearables, we're usually substituting one part of the avatar's body for another part. Our jacket will be the avatar's new torso, so we need to make sure it has hands and so on. DCL wearables fit together like Lego pieces, so the contact points between items need to be in exactly the right place. Male and female avatars have different hip heights and sizes, so we need to create two versions of our jacket so all avatars can wear it. For the most part, the easiest way to make an upper body wearable is to start with the avatar's upper body mesh. So let's go ahead and duplicate the male upper body and move it to a new collection. And we'll do the same for the female upper body. Now let's start actually making our jacket. In essence, we're going to modify the mesh we already have to make it look like a bomber jacket. Let's import some reference images to the scene to help us during the process. As you can imagine, we started developing the concept with Son of Adam before creating the 3D model. So here are some of our main reference points and inspiration pics. To add a reference picture to a scene in Blender, you can just press Shift A and select Image, Reference Image. First off, let's make this upper body a bit more Blender friendly so we can modify it more easily. I like to go into the Object Data properties and clear Custom Split Normals. Then remove all the double vertices from the model by going into Edit Mode, selecting the whole mesh with A, and going to Clean Up Merge by Distance. Next, you can press Option or Alt-T to convert most of the triangles to quads. This will make it a lot easier to add loop cuts and then weight paint the item. To make the process easier and quicker, let's set up a mirror modifier so everything we do on one half of the torso is replicated on the other side as well. So let's delete all the vertices to one side of the Z-axis on the model and add a mirror modifier to it. Let's also enable clipping on the mirror modifier so vertices stick together in the middle. Of course, clothing isn't perfectly symmetrical in real life, especially when you're actually wearing it. However, making this wearable with symmetry will aid us in the process, and when it comes time to weight paint the model, we'll only need to figure out one side and then we can just copy it to the other side. So once the mirror modifier is set up, we're ready to start modifying the upper body model, making it look more like what we have in mind. Bear in mind that the loops of vertices around the neck and the hips have to stay in the same places for this item to connect to other Decentraland wearables. If you're making something more abstract that's floating or disconnected, you don't need to worry about this at all. But for this jacket to work right, we need to keep the neck and hip vertices where they are on the model. We can use up to 1500 triangles to make our upper body wearable, including the geometry that goes around the hands and the arms. It's not that many tries, but you'd be surprised at some of the incredible wearables that people have put together within the poly limit. You can check the amount of triangles your wearable has by enabling the statistics in the overlay options. To start off, I'm going to make some marks on the mesh to sketch out the shape we want to make, defining the area around the collar and the cuffs and the opening at the front. Then I'll start editing the proportions to make it look less like a torso and more like a torso wearing a jacket. So once the outline is looking more or less like a bomber jacket, I'll extrude some edges to give it more of a sensation of depth. I'm trying to add depth where there would be depth in real life, so mainly around the front and the base edges of the jacket, especially the collar and the cuffs. Then with the remaining polygons, I'll add some more details to the jacket, like creases, and also try to add more loops where the main joints are, so our wearable animation looks smooth and natural. And now I'm just going to tweak a few different areas until the bomber jacket feels right. Usually at this point I would start adding in textures, but first I wanted to see how the shape of the jacket looked in Decentraland. So I'm going to go ahead and do the weight painting first, so we can test it on the platform before just spending too much time tweaking and making those textures just perfect. To start the weight painting or rigging process, select the model in object mode and press Option or Alt-P to unparent it from anything and everything in the scene. Choose Clear Parent and keep transformation in the little window that pops up, and head over to the Properties panel and apply or remove all modifiers. You also want to go to the Object Data Properties and clear all vertex groups or any that could be there. Then apply all transforms to the model by pressing Ctrl-A and selecting Apply All Transforms. Now you can go ahead and parent the jacket to the armature, selecting the model, then the skeleton, and pressing Ctrl-P. A window will pop open with different parenting options for you to choose from. I usually go for automatic weights, but you can choose any of the armature deform methods. If we pose the armature now, the jacket should follow the skeleton's movements. But we're not done just yet. Remember the rings of vertices around the neck and the hips? We need to make sure that they're fully weighted or bright red to the neck and hip bones respectively, with no influence from any other bones. There are lots of different ways to weight paint. One of them is to select the armature, then the model, and go into weight paint mode. You can then use the brush to add, remove, or soften the influence each bone has on the mesh. And if you hold the Control button and click, you can change the bone you're working on. Once the weight painting is ready, I export the model as a GLB file and test it in the Decentraland wearable editor. After that, Son of Adam and our team decided to make some small adjustments to the shape of the jacket. And this is how the jacket geometry looks after making those adjustments. So next we started the texturing process to give the jacket color and pattern. And when you're going to texture a 3D model, you usually need to do a thing called UV unwrapping. That's essentially unfolding the mesh's UV maps onto a 2D image. So one of my teachers once explained this as like having a candy, taking the wrapper off and laying it out on a flat surface. So as you know, like candy wrappers are made as flat rectangle patterns. And when they're wrapped around sweets, they look completely different. So that's pretty much what we're doing with the jacket, but in reverse. So head on over to the UV Editor tab, select your model and go into Edit mode. Select the faces you want to unwrap and press the shortcut U. A series of UV unwrapping options will appear on the screen, and it can be handy to try them out and see what works best for you. You can also edit the unwrapped faces in the UV Editor by moving, rotating, and scaling them. Once the jacket is unwrapped, we create our textures in Substance Painter and then import them to Blender. To do that, you can open the Shading tab and create a new material for your model by pressing the plus icon next to the Materials box. Then in the Shader Editor, you can plug an image into the Principled BSDF node to turn it into a texture for your 3D model. Take a look at the avatar skin shader. If this doesn't make sense, we want to replicate that node setup for our jacket texture. Bear in mind we can use a maximum of 3 materials, including 2 textures for each jacket, and the skin material actually counts as one of our textures. So we need to be pretty resourceful with our other texture and material. So what we did was to unwrap all of the jacket, including the t-shirt that the avatar is wearing underneath, onto one UV map. So we're using one texture for the avatar skin, which can be custom tinted in World, and one texture for the jacket and the tee together onto the one image. The largest recommended picture size is 512 by 512 pixels, and any other sizes should also be powers of 2. So our jacket texture is 512 by 512 pixels, which is the same as the avatar skin texture. The skin material should always be called avatar skin _matte. Sometimes when models are imported to Blender, numbers are added to the names of their material names. So if you see any numbers at the end of your skin material name, you want to go in and edit that just to remove the numbers and the dot at the end. Another way to texture items is by using image atlases, like the one attached in the bio below. Image atlases have many different color swatches on one picture and can be handy for items with multiple flat colors. Cool, now we've textured the jacket, let's go ahead and make the other body shape version. The quickest way to do that is usually to duplicate the model we just made and adapt the shape to the other hip shape. It's pretty easy to do with proportional editing and then using snapping to put the ring of vertices in exactly the right place. So for proportional editing, you can press the shortcut O to turn that on and off. And you can turn on your magnet at the top center of the screen and set it to vertices to enable vertex snapping. There are also slight differences between the hands on the base male and female avatars. It's up to you how you want them to look on each version. Okay, our weight painting should still be intact from before, and it can be good to move the skeleton just to make sure that everything's looking good. And now we can export both models and test them out in the Decentraland wearable editor. Let's go ahead and export our jackets as 2 separate GLB files so Decentraland can read them. So select a jacket, then the armature. So the armature should be yellow. Go to File, Export As, and select GLTF 2.0 in brackets GLB. This is going to open up a window with different export options, and we want to go through and check a few options. So under Include, check Selected Objects. Under Transform, check +Y up. Under Geometry, check UVs, normals, and vertex colors. Under Animation, check Skinning. Name your model and press Export. Now head on over to builder.decentraland.org and select the Collections tab. Create a new collection, name it, and add a new item by uploading the GLB you just exported. Choose the best category for it. In this case, for our jacket, it's going to be upper body. Your chosen rarity, we're actually going to make this jacket mythic. Woohoo! And let the engine know whether it's male, female, or a unisex model. In this case, we're uploading the female version first, and we can add the male model after by clicking on the 3 dots at the top of the next screen and selecting Add Male Representation. In the Decentraland Wearables editor, you can see an avatar wearing the jacket and check for any issues. Try different body shapes, clothing combinations, and emotes to see how it looks. You can also give the wearable a name, description, tags, and set it to override or hide other items if necessary. If you want to change the thumbnail, you can do that by clicking on the camera icon on the thumbnail and uploading a picture. Your thumbnail should be in PNG format with a transparent background and no larger than 512 by 512 pixels. Most thumbnails just include the wearable without skin, hair, or anything else. You can also check the item out in Decentraland by going back to the Collections page and clicking on your new collection. Press the 3 dots at the top of the screen and choose See in World. This will open a new browser tab, and you'll need to change your digital wallet from the Ethereum network to the Ropsten test network in order to access the test platform. If you're using a digital wallet like MetaMask, open the extension and at the top where it says Ethereum network, click to expand and select Ropsten test network. Reload the Decentraland browser and then head into your backpack and try on your new jacket. It's handy to run around and check the different emotes are working well, and make sure the item doesn't clip with many other wearables. Some clipping can happen as there are a lot of different styles of wearable, but you do want to try and make your item compatible with as many other wearables as possible, because this helps everyone mix and match items however they prefer. And if you've ever spent time in Decentraland, you already know how cool and wacky the outfits can get. When you're ready to submit your new item to the DCL platform, go back into the wearable editor and press publish. You need to complete all the data fields and able to press the publish button. So if it's grayed out, make sure you've set the prices and everything like that. You can change the prices at a later date, so don't worry too much about that. You'll also need Polygon Mana to pay the submission fees, and you can convert Mana to Polygon Mana at account.decentraland.org. The conversion process takes about 30 minutes, so don't panic when it isn't immediate. As soon as you have enough Polygon Mana in your account, you can publish the wearables. Next, the Decentraland Curators Committee will review your collection. The process usually takes around 10 days, and it depends on the amount of items that are waiting to be reviewed and the number of curators that are available at any given time. So what they do is make sure the items in the collection work well on the platform and are also in compliance with the Decentraland content policy and terms of service. If any of your items require modifications, a member of the committee will let you know via the Decentraland forum. If you haven't used the forum before, it's a good idea to go in and set up an account, and that way you'll get email notifications if anyone comments on your submission. You can also check on your collection's forum post by going to your collection in the Decentraland wearable editor, pressing the 3 dots and selecting forum post. That will direct you to the page that has your collection and all the feedback. Whilst your collection is under review, you can see a grey button next to it in the wearable editor. When it's been approved, the button will turn green and the minting options will be available. If the collection is rejected, the button will turn red and a reason will be given on the Decentraland forum. Once the button goes green, you can mint, wear, sell, gift your items, whatever you want to do with them. I hope this helps you create your own jacket or other upper body wearable for Decentraland. I'd love to see what you make, so tag KJWalker3D or LowPolyModels on Twitter with your creations. If you have any questions, just let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.